Welcome to Around the Board, a show where four board game enthusiasts discuss board game topics and news. In today's show, we'll heat things up in the segment Hot or Not, talking about challengers, which will lead us into our next category, party games. Following that, we return to everyone's favorite game, Play, Shelf, Trade. And finishing off the show, John tests us with another Believe It or Not. Here are your hosts, Daniel Takesy Backsy Connors, John Thiemann Tyson, Chris I Made a Mixtape Thomason, and the fifth Ninja Turtle, Andy Barnett. Now join us around the board.
Is that
what that voice was?
Is that an old man joke? Like, I understand Randy wrote that, but like, I don't.
Yeah, obviously, because you made a mixtape. Although, yeah. It could have gone better. I would have liked.
No, I liked it. I was just trying to make sure that's what I
would have gone with like played a
Yeah.
phonograph record or something. Something like that.
Mixed phonograph. That'd be awesome.
I was trying to kind of mimic the Saturday Night, like it's Saturday Night Live, but I didn't really get it. So
I know Daniel has some stuff he wants to talk about today, but real quick.
Do we want to talk?
Yes, but real quick, I wanted to show. I actually started getting some of my
here?
Kickstarters in because, as you know, I don't do many Kickstarters. And I've been yelling at Daniel like every 3 days. I don't ever hear anything from my Kickstarters. They're never coming in. Well, I finally got in my all play ones where I got Couture and Big Top. We're both like auction games, but they're different kind of auction games. Look really cool. And then I guess this isn't really Kickstarter. It's GameFound. GameFound.
Down the mic. We can't hear you.
GameFound did the Fit to Print, which that's my last one from my top 5 at Gen Con that I didn't physically have. I acquired and paid for it, but I didn't physically have it yet. Now I do, and it's the only one that hasn't been played. So
John got the Daniel Award. Is that what we decided it's called?
That's what we decided. Except that they're getting played, so it's not really the Daniel Award.
Yeah. I'd like to tell something to you guys, and I think it's actually a milestone. I feel like I should get a coin like they have in recovery in 12 steps, where it tells you, how long of your sobriety has been. I feel like I deserve this because I currently have, no Kickstarters out there.
Wow. For how many days?
First time in probably 5 years, I don't have anything out there.
Wow.
How many days unkicked have you been?
So yeah, what has it been? It's been like at least 2 or 3 weeks. I'm closing in on my 30-day chip.
Get your 30-day chip. There you go.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna break my 30-day chip because have you seen the news about Lucky Duck Games?
Yes.
They are teaming up with Splotter, and it's like Daniel and Chris's worlds collide as Food Chain Magnate is going to get an update, deluxeified, and it still looks just marginally better than what Splotter made.
And it's really not shtick when I say that, like, it looks worse. And I say that because it's like they've taken away the aesthetic of that old 50s like drawn art, and now they've made it colored in, and so I don't like that. And then also well, sure, whatever. And then the picture also shows like screen printed on the Coke on the fries and all the different like pieces, and it actually makes it harder to see what you're looking at because of it. So,
well, I'll get your spectacles out and your monocle so you can see it better.
Ooh,
spectacles
I'm
and
in.
a monocle.
On the original one, wasn't the artwork just on the box pretty much? It wasn't even in the game, was it?
No, there was tons of art in the game. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All I remember seeing is just plain. It looked like a crossword puzzle that you're playing a game on.
Oh, okay. Now the art of the roads is up there in badness, but like the actual art on all the cards is quality with the aesthetic that they were going for and the theme and everything. So,
Daniel, when you first said that, I thought you were going to confess to us that you backed Night Shift.
You messed up that joke, buddy. I don't think it's called Night Shift, is it?
I thought that's what it was called. What is it called?
What are you talking about?
That one game about working the night shift. A lady of the night shift.
Yeah.
Is that what that's called? I don't know. There was a game that...
I don't know. You should Google search it.
I don't want to now. I feel icky.
Good.
I feel icky. You made me feel icky.
Well, you know what won't make you feel icky?
What's that?
Let's begin what we came here for.
Yeah.
What did we come here for?
Oh my gosh. Can't you pick up a cue?
So I know normally we're silent here and all that stuff to give props to Triple H, but I do want to say though, like, so we're talking about the Kickstarter thing. I've seen tons of people on Facebook recently being like, "Oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do on November 12th. There's somebody coming out." You can just not. You could just not. It's that simple.
Too late
Just
now.
say no. Just say no.
Exactly.
Board game abuse resistance education.
Ooh,
Should get a t-shirt
a
made.
dare for Kickstarters. This
Yeah,
is
it would be called
something-
Bear, right?
Okay, Bear.
Bear. Dude, this is a shirt that is happening. This will be in our gift shop before you know it. Bear, B.A.R.E. Board game abuse resistance education.
I like it.
Right here.
I like it.
Hey, Around the Board is all about debating different topics within tabletop gaming, if you didn't know, in 4 unique segments, in fact, each hosted by one of us. A behind-the-scenes judge will award points. At the end of the show, the contestant with the most points will get to sit on their soap throne and tell us all how they would bring world peace. Now, it's time to play the game. Round 1. Fight!
All right, so for our first round, we are going to go to a hot or not segment. So we like to review games that our group is divided on. So that means usually games that we've played in the past, but every now and then there's a new hotness that comes to the top. And at least one of us just wants to burn it with fire. And that is when we decide, you know what, this is going to be a really good hot or not. So today we are going to talk about the prestigious game, the award-winning Kenner Spiel des Jahres 2022, maybe 23, maybe 25. We don't really know how this works. Kenner Spiel des Jahres winner, Challengers. Challengers is a 2-player game where you're actually, you know what? I could probably do it better at the table.
Today we're going to take a look at Challengers. In Challengers, you will play against one other person. The first person who runs out of cards will lose, or if they fill up their entire bench, they'll lose. A round looks like this. I flip the card. I have a strength of 2, so I have a 2. Then my opponent now has to beat a 2. Look at that, he does. So now he gets the flag and I go to the bench. Then I flip 1, but a 1 doesn't beat a 2, so I have to flip another 1. Oh, look at that, I have a total of 3. This flag comes over here. These 2 compress. Now I only have a strength of 2. And you do this until someone fills up their bench or until someone runs out of cards. In between each round, you'll draft from a handful of cards and add 2 cards or 1 card to your deck. Then you'll play another opponent. You do this 7 times. Whoever has the most points wins the game.
All right. And yes, it really is that easy. I probably took about 10 seconds to explain the game, and that's all you need to know about it. But let's just jump right into it. Let's give our opinions, and I'll start because that's the rules. So Challengers was an I got to tell how I bought this story. So I went to the how I bought this game. I went to the local game store and I was looking around the games, and the owner, Mason, goes, "Hey, isn't this a new game?" And I go, "Yeah, I heard about that." He goes, "Didn't it win the Kenner Spiel des Jahres?" And I go, "Yeah, I think it did." "Well, have you played it yet?" And I was like, "Mason, do you want me to buy this game?" And he's like, "Well, I have to make a living." I was like, "Okay, I'll buy it." So without knowing anything about it, I bought the game.
Key point to remember.
Yeah. And I got it to the table at a Second Friday game night. And I got first, our friend Kent O'Connor had it all set up and played, and everybody over there was hooting and hollering. The loudest person over there was our friend Philip, who's appeared on the show from time to time. And I was like, man, I got to get this game played. So at the end of the night, I went over there, and my goodness, this game was a hit. This was so much fun. There are games out there that you play because you want a deep philosophical challenge. You want to just, chew on the numbers and think about what your best bet is. But sometimes there are games out there that you just want to have fun with, that you just want to get with 8 other people and just laugh and just challenge yourself to have a good time. And that's what we did. Fine, ladies and gentlemen out there, Challengers is a game that you can just get together, sit across the table with somebody, play it in 3 minutes, and just have a time of laughter, a time of joy. You can, don't buzz me, because I am enjoying this moment, just like I enjoyed Challengers. This game is lived up to the hype, in my opinion. And if you do not like it, I think you just take yourself a little too serious. Why so serious? That's all I got to say about Challengers. It was fun.
Wow. I'm surprised at your take, Daniel, as
Well-
apparently, I guess we're going to me already. But yeah, I did not think you enjoyed this at all, especially the first play that we had of it. But I agree with you. I've said many times.
There's we won't cut into your time, but there's a difference between. No,
His time's running. The clock is running.
No, we'll restart it. There's a difference.
Once the clock starts.
Doing poorly. A difference between doing poorly and not enjoying it. Because the first game I played, I was abysmal. I did not win until my last game, which happened to be against Philip. And I literally trashed his 10 value card straight from the top of the deck. I slammed my cards down on the table, threw my hands up, and ran around like I just won the World Series. And because it was that exciting. And it was the only time I won.
Oh, seriously? Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, to me, I mean, I've said this many times on this show before. Games were meant to be fun, and that's like you said, that's what Challengers is. It's meant to be fun, and it's shut up, Andy. And I think the best way to describe it is, to me, the best way to describe it is it's like a sports simulation. It's like this is your team of guys that they're all characters, they're all people in your team that you're collecting, that you're drafting cards of. They're all people, and you even have a bench that you put people on. And it's like you're forming a team, and then you just put them out there and see how they can do. And as you can see every week in the NFL, sometimes the best team doesn't always win. Sometimes best team gets skunked in for the first half, and it's like, well, now we're toast. We're not going to make it. And you can have best laid plans can go to pot, but it shouldn't be a lot of time invested in this game. That's the thing. But that was the one downfall, is when you're teaching people this game, it's a little different than any other kind of game. So it can be a little bit of a long teach for what it is. But I'd still like to play this with 8 people that have already played it, because you would just jump in and boom, and you would go, and literally the game would be over in 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like that, because you know what you're doing. Oh, okay, now I draft this, I go there, I do this. Okay, I'm getting rid of these, I'm playing you. Let's go. We haven't, the times I've played it, we never had that, because at least half the people have never played it before. So I would love to have that happen. But it's a fun game. That's what it's for. Should it have won the Kenner Spiel? No, that's a joke. This is not a strategy game. This is a fun game where you make a few decisions. You hope things turn out. If they don't, it's not a big deal. If they do, it's fun. You're winning trophies and stuff. I could see upgrades of this where you got real trophies or something, or some expansions to it with different people that you're adding to your deck. This could be, if this is a fun game to play with, especially 8 players. I would not recommend it probably for less than 4. You think? I mean,
no,
I don't see how you could. I would
Seriously,
say
your time's up.
6 to 8 is what I would say.
Your time's up.
All right.
Hey, just easing the tension, baby.
Yeah, I'm just easing the tension. Calm down.
John, yeah, I totally agree with you about that teach. On Friday when we played it with 8 people. 4 of them were pretty new, and 3 of them weren't really gamers. And wow, that was a lot of more difficult to teach than I thought. One guy literally kept asking me, like, what's the strategy in this game? And I was like, dude, there is no strategy. Just grab cards and play. Because but in your opinion, which one should I get? I'm like, the top card. Just grab the top card.
Yep, that's what he kept. The same way I kept asking me the same thing. And I'm actually going to be playing against you, so I don't know if I should be telling you what to take.
Look at John. You're gonna keep it away from the new person because you want to beat him.
Well, it's like I don't know how honest I can be. It's like.
Well, I know how honest Chris can be. Chris, let us hear it. What you got?
Okay, so I have very interesting feelings on this game. I would like to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being abysmal and 10 being a triumph, the standard system on BGG. What rating would you give a game that in the ranking is 25,026 out of 1 and 10? What would you go around, John? What would you give that?
Well, this particular game right
here. No.
Generically,
a game that is ranked 25,026.
You would figure it's probably around 5.5 to 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now that's not even the BGG rating. I'm saying your personal rating. Like how high do you think this game? How good do you think a game with that number is?
If it's that low, I would expect it to be in the 4s.
Really?
Okay. Well,
Are you going to ask
Andy?
me?
Sure. Yeah, Andy.
Thank you. I would give it a Daniel Connors rating.
What does that mean?
Well, earlier you said you were abysmal.
Oh, okay. That's fine. So this game, for those that didn't pick up on that detailed, long, clearly explanation of the game, this game is effectively a re-implementation with a very small amount of agency of choosing cards between matches of the game called War. Now, War has been around since they don't know on BGG, and there's currently, now granted, some games don't have enough ratings, so they don't actually pop up on it because you have to a certain amount to even qualify. There are 4 games rated worse than War on BGG. And this game is effectively War with a small variance because you choose some cards between one round and another. And somehow there have been enough stupidity in this world to take War from 25,026 up to 1,271 with a game called Challengers, where the challenge is to have fun. You have to figure out how to do it because it's awful. And when it talked about the player count, it's actually the age count. It's for people 8 and under because that's the only way you can have fun. This game is unbelievable. Oh my goodness! Like I've had like Keyflower. We all know how I feel about Keyflower and Ticket to Ride and all those different stuff. Those I just have issues with logistics and like I don't like the little choice I have Ticket to Ride. You have almost no choice in this game because yes, you do draft your cards, but then afterwards you shuffle them up. That's the strategy, people. You got to figure out how to cheat by shuffling because that's the only choice you get in this game. You then just flip over because it's flipping War. And that's the reason that Mason hornswoggled Daniel into buying this game because he knew he was not going to be able to move it any other way.
No, that is absurd, Chris. And I'm glad you unloaded on this because we have been having this debate back and forth. I do not understand how you have such a harsh reaction to this game because this game is the deck construction. It is building the deck. That is what you do in Magic. That is what you do in Marvel Snap.
All right. It's my turn. It's my turn. Come on. Move to me.
But why am I going to waste an hour plus of my life doing that with other people?
Because it's compacting that experience in a nice little package.
Because you actually still get to play the cards how you want, not just randomly.
Daniel, quit taking up my time.
It's
my time.
Go.
So I wanted to say this. No.
At first, I hated this game. Seriously, the first round or two, I was like, what is this? And I agree with Chris. It's like War, but it was like War meets musical chairs.
Right, which is even worse. Correct.
And it's just like, yeah, it's like I had like trauma from being a kid and being left out or something. But then I got to tell you, Chris, the strangest thing happened. It started to grow on me. I liked what I was experiencing, and suddenly it hit me. This game is a tournament in a box. It is a tournament in a box. It gave me the feeling of playing in a tournament, like something I've done at Gen Con or just any CCG tourney. It was kind of strangely magical. I saw friends laughing and goofing around and I'm going to play you next and talking a little trash. And yes, it is stupid and random. There's something magical about it after a while. I don't know what it was. I totally changed. I went from one extreme to the other, and I walked away going, I had a fun time. And you know what? While there isn't a whole lot of strategy, there is some deck construction strategy to it. And you do improve your deck as you go, and there's a little bit of bragging with that and trash talking, and I don't know. I strangely went from your position, Chris, to a position similar to John and Daniel more quickly than I ever have. So I don't know.
I think
it was fun to see your change in real time. And it's funny because me and John debated. We were like, when you start the game, you get a card and it tells you which map you're going to go to and which challenger you're going to have. And John was like, well, give Andy the one where he doesn't have to move. And I was like, no, Andy's going to move as much as possible because I wanted him to hate this game. And early on, he was like, this is stupid. This is ridiculous. But yeah, as it went on, we saw quite the change.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think the change coincided with, and I thought this was going to happen. Andy started winning. He ended up in the finals, and I'm like, if Andy wins, he's going to give this game a good review. And then, sure enough, that's what happened.
I figured that was the only way that actually
Yes,
happened.
that's the only
That is
reason.
also a thing that's ridiculous about the game. You get these little cards that tell you where you're supposed to sit, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. So it's like mathed out and figured out because it's, again, a game that they've worked really hard at, did a lot of R&D, and all kinds of stuff on, because it's a Kitterspiel, a strategy game. So they're like, oh, we figured out, mathed out how you get to play everyone once in a round robin format. Nope, it's just random. You can play 6 rounds with 6 people and play the same person 3 times. Nothing about it makes any sense. And maybe that's hyperbolic. I know for sure you can play the same person twice.
Yes,
I wouldn't be surprised there's a combination there where you play someone 3 times.
I will say that I was floored that this was the Kennerspiel, because I have defended the Spiel Awards on this show many times.
Doing it.
And historically, they have had some good things that have come out of the Spiels. But this is not a Kennerspiel. This is a Spiel. And it is not the complex game. That is ridiculous. That is how the mighty have fallen. The Germans are letting me down. I don't know if it's because they joined the EU. I think it was actually like 20 years ago. But still, something's gone wrong in Germany.
So I'm going to say this one thing also. What also makes me so angry about this game, with one simple rule change. And you know what? I meant to, and I forgot to actually look up the rules and see if Daniel was actually doing his like full-on cardinal sin of playing the kid version and not the advanced rules, because it's this simple, one simple rule that makes this game go from the 25,000 it deserves to the 1,200 it's rated at. And that's at the beginning of the round, you draw 5 cards, you play 1, you draw 1. That game is legit, but just flipping cards over in war, I feel like I'm being punked. I truly feel like I'm on a bizarro world where everyone's lost their minds.
I hear what you're saying.
Think this game is any good.
I hear what you're saying, but you have to realize that the strategy is all in the construction of the deck, and then it's just like you're just like running the machine. You have made your machine, and then you're like hitting the button to run the machine. And that's
I feel like I'm talking to people who think that Magic is truly just have the best cards. That's not the case. You have to know how to pilot the deck. You have to know when to play this card and that card.
Nobody said it was. Well, Daniel actually did.
No, I did actually say it's Magic, because when you do a Magic
It's
draft
a reskin.
from like,
you're abysmal.
When you're popping open a pack, that's literally what you're doing. You're taking garbage cards and you're trying to make them work by doing probabilities and playing the curve. That is exactly what this game is.
Because you've researched, all the cards in the set. You're opening 15, choosing one. Okay, I've chose that one, so now I'm going to choose another one, choose another. And then later, I'm going to shuffle them up and draw cards and choose to play them, not just flip them over war style.
Nope, same thing. And right before I leave, I got to throw this out here. My wife literally, while playing, says, well, at least there's more strategy than poker. So, hey, guys, let us know what you think of Challengers. Do you think it's as good as John and I and Andy think? Or do you think it's heart garbage like Chris and some other prominent reviewers as well? So, Chris, you are not alone. Don't worry.
He's not alone.
Round 2. Fight.
All right, guys. So right now that we talked about a game, kind of, we're going to talk about games that can at least be considered party games. And the question is, what actually makes a party game, and where do you draw the line? Obvious for me, it has to be anything with more agency than Challengers, because that's not even a game. I don't know. So in truth, party games, man, these are. I'm going to sound like the biggest jerk old man that there is. It's a party game. If you're playing games, this is Boxworthy. We got Boxworthy back here. I'm stealing John's bit. If you're playing games with people who have never been to a board game store, you're probably playing a party game. Because if you're playing with people who've been into a board game store and you're not playing a select very few games as the last game because your brains are already fried, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? You should not be playing them. And even then, like I have some very particular ones that I consider a party game. So here on topic, No Thanks. I consider that a party game. That it has some strategy and stuff, but I consider that a party game because it's simple enough for people who have never been to a board game store. If you've never been to a board game store, it's simple enough for you because you don't actually care about this lifestyle that we live. And you don't have the reps, so to speak, not reputation, but like reps done it over and over and over to where you understand games and that you want to play something more than war. So games like Challengers, again, like I said, I would consider this a great party game, but I can't even consider it a game. So, but yeah, like that's my party game for me. You could also say like things like Secret Hitler and these social deduction games. I would consider those party games as well because again, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just trying to convince people of lies for some strange reason. That's just called life for most people. So not for me, but for most people. So I don't know. Party games, I just really don't like them. I'm going to be honest. I really don't like them. I don't know why we're doing them. Like I said, except for the last game of the night and our heads are all fried. That's the only time I should be playing a game as a party game because it does take no mental fortitude to play these type of games.
What a horrible take, Chris.
Yes, that's pretty bad.
I don't like them at all.
Um,
Andy, what do you think about party games?
well, first of all, I just got this from Randy.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I believe mine says 7, brother.
Second of all, a party has to involve a party. And No Thanks plays what, 4 or 5? That's not a party.
It plays like 6 or 8.
I don't think so.
I guarantee it plays at least 6.
Maybe.
You want to guarantee? You want to bet? You want to bet?
Sure.
Okay,
Just say no
what do we
thanks.
want to bet? What do we want to bet?
We need to come up with I don't know. We need to come up with something that we do on the show.
I think you'll have to wear whatever I say you have to wear.
Yeah, we're not doing
what's it
that.
say?
Not
What's
doing
it
Three to
say,
that.
five
Daniel? I can't
players.
read it.
I can't focus it. It's 3 to 5. 3 to 5.
Ha! Yes, you lose. You lose.
Well, that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Anyway, so it's not a party game, and it's more of a gateway game, and it's a fun game, but it's certainly not a party game. A party game has to make you laugh. It has to make you. I mean,
It's party time! P-A-R-T. Why? Because I gotta!
Sorry, just had to get that in there. A party game is defined by the atmosphere in the room. If there's laughter, if there's boisterous outbursts, it's a party game, which is why Challengers is a party game, because that's exactly what happened. It was a lot of fun, and people were laughing and joking. Happy Salmon's a party game. Secret Hitler definitely is a party game. Party games are those types of things that, in fact, look at this. I pulled this up just because I want you to know this, Chris. The definition of a party. It is a social gathering of invited guests, typically involving eating, drinking, and entertainment. The kind of things you're talking about are not entertaining, and you couldn't even play. You probably don't even eat while doing them. It has
You're
to
right.
be,
I don't want food on my games broken.
Yeah, it has
You're
to be this massive experience to be a party game. It can't just be a game that you like. So yeah, there you go.
I think your
So-
take was a little more on point than Chris's, Andy, but I still think you missed it.
Same.
Yeah. Well, especially because I got 7 points, he's only got 6. But also, if you actually go on BGG.com, you will see that there are different editions of the game, and Daniel clearly has the party game version of No Thanks that only plays 3 to 5 people, not the true Rager Rave version that I have that plays 3 to 7. So suck it.
All right. Well, so you guys were getting there. So I distinguish party games between. Okay, sorry. Let me back up. So you guys were getting there. There are some games out there that are just fun to play. There's strategy games where you want to think about it. There's games that you want to play, just have fun. And then there's party games. Okay. And we got to distinguish between the fun to play games and the party games. Fun to play games are games like Camel Cup. Why? Because it's a game. You're making decisions, but it's also fun and exciting. So
It's
it has
Camel
that
Up.
party atmosphere. Camel Cup. And another one would be Mechs vs. Minions. No one would argue that is not that is a party game, but it's a fun game. You're not making a lot of hard choices, but it just makes you laugh. You just play because it's fun to explode things, and you're like, yes. So party games are not just because you're fun and laughing, having a good time. It is, I think the definition of party game has to be that there's an open play where people can come and go as you want. So like a game like Time's Up, anybody can come and go in that game in the middle of it. Some people can participate. They can play for one round and walk away, and they're not going to mess up the game. Codenames, same things. How many times have you played Codenames and you've had a crowd of people gather around, and by the end of it, the crowd has just disappeared? And you don't
zero times. I don't have body.
Zero times.
Well, you got to play it.
I was going to say, I've never
Fridays.
had that happen.
Really?
Well, you need to play it at Second Fridays more because they're always a crowd because people can just participate in these trivia games in general. And then obviously party games like what's the one game that we found recently? Who's the Dude? Where you have a giant inflatable dude and you do charades with him, which there's some pictures coming on that we're going to show you here. But those are party games. Those are games that are meant for just, slapping your knees, having fun, eating, drinking soda and eating pretzels and not caring about your decisions. Everything you guys said previously are actual real games. No Thanks, Secret Hitler. Those are games, man. Those are games. Those aren't party games.
Wait a minute. So you don't laugh and have fun playing Secret Hitler?
I do, but if you left Secret Hitler and came or like switched somebody out, you would destroy the game. Party games they can be fun. Secret Hitler's a blast. I laugh more as hard in that game than I do any other game, but it's not a party game. And I would not play that at a party. There was loud music going around or just a bunch of people. And they're like, what are you guys doing?
So wait,
stop and play.
Party games
Secret
can't
Hitler.
Involve conversation then?
It can. It has to.
What you said,
because you're not actually playing a game and you're not entertained. So you have to be talking about something.
No.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Party games are for people that have not been to a board game store. And once you have, then there's a new level of party games. And when my brain is burnt out, I'll play No Thanks. You cannot convince me to play Where's the Dude or Trivial Pursuit or any of this other bull crap. I will not do it because it's not fun.
Now, trivia games can be fun. There are some good trivia games.
Andy, you talk too much.
No.
Okay.
One more thing. We just have to get out of the light here right now. And that is that Daniel suggested that party games involve blow up dolls. Okay, John, go.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, Daniel, you got closer.
They help.
You got closer than these other two stooges of what a party game is, but even you didn't get it because what you do during the game, whether you're screaming or hooting and hollering, doesn't make it a party game. It's the game itself that makes it a party game or not. And you can scream and hoot and holler during any game. You can scream and hoot and holler during a serious game and have fun with it.
I do that in chess all the time.
And so what makes a party game, usually there's teams. Usually you have teams involved. Usually, not always. And also the fun is usually primary over who wins or loses. The fun factor is what a party game is all about. It's not an entry-level strategy game like No Thanks or something like that, or some bidding or auction game. It's a game that's usually requires a talent or a performance. It's either knowing strategy, it's either knowing trivia, or it's being able to do charades or something like that. Something that's fun to do that is not serious. And so it makes it a party game. So things that are a party game, Time's Up, as was mentioned before. Yes, that's a party game. You know, it's not a party game. Jeopardy. Jeopardy is not a party game. That's just a trivia game. Like Trivial Pursuit is not a party game. It's, number one, it's not fun. Number two, it's literally just basically a test. You know, it's you're really trying to think. It's not. You don't do that to have a party. You're trying to think about answers. What else is a party game? Telestrations is an excellent example of a party game. It's all about having fun, making these pictures, passing them around and guessing what they are. The whole thing about it is the fun. You don't really care who wins. It's the funny things people come up with about the pictures. What's not a party game? Tape something to your face and try to say something. Those stupid games. Those are not party games either, where it's, in 2 seconds, a pie hits me in the face. Haha, this is a party. That's not a party game either. That was invented by somebody that was drunk that thought people would want to buy it. And there's too many of those games, and those are not party games either. But in between there, the ones that I mentioned, those kind are party games where there's a little bit of camaraderie, fun, excitement, and usually involving teams. But there we go. I think I've successfully finally defined what a party game is.
John, you said at one point that you thought a party game is a skills competition and where you show off your talents. So you're saying like Miss America is a party game.
Is that what I said? Man, you really need to pay attention.
It's as entertaining as Trivial Pursuit, so sure.
Andy, you're missing a good show here, Andy. Come on.
One thing I didn't get to and say is that I think a party game has to be able to play at least 7 players.
Okay.
And
All
no
right.
thanks.
That's a random
So
number.
thank you for that, Andy. All right,
That
guys.
is a
So
random
what do you
number.
consider a party game? Does it actually have to be still fun? Because most of these games are not a party game for me then, because they're not any fun. But let us know what you think in the comments.
We'll return after these messages.
Howdy, folks. I'm going to tell you a story about how the world got turned upside down. It all started when a dadgum meteor done plumb hit the moon so hard it changed its doggone orbit. The axis of the planet got all off, and then while the oceans and lakes and rivers and everything else was all stirred up. Before you knowed it, the wildlife was a-changing. Fish in particular got bigger, smarter, and hungrier. They ate all them city folk, but a few of us backwoods preppers are still fighting.
In Axis and Walleyes, you play as hillbillies fighting giant mutant fish on the front lines, while praying to God that the axis of the earth will self-correct. Because if it doesn't, we may all be swimming with the fishes.
Axis and Walleyes, coming soon to Start Kicker.
You like to play a game?
Shall we play a game?
Okay, let's play the game.
By the way, my favorite party game, didn't say this earlier, Quelf. Quelf.
I thought that was a cereal.
It's something.
3. Fight!
All right, it is our world-famous Play Shelf Trade, unique only to this amazing show. And it's a segment where we take 3 games. We each choose out of those games which one we would like to play right now, shelf to play later, because it's so good that we have to keep it, or trade it away for something better. And so we're going to start things off by talking about 3 different games. They are Res Arcana, Comic Hunters, and Villagers. So we'll start with Res Arcana, or is it Arcana? I don't know. You say Arcana, I say Arcana. Arcana. This is my shelf. It's a fantastic game. It is absolutely one of the best games out there that I play, and I don't know why I don't play it more, because it's just a lot of fun. Every single time I play it, I'm just like, this is good. This is good. And it is by the same designer. Oh boy, I'm going to forget his name. Tom Lehman, I think. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing his last name correct. But he is the designer of a Race for the Galaxy, a Roll for the Galaxy, all those games, and he does a beautiful job with Res Arcana, and the expansion for it is also fantastic. It is definitely my shelf. I'll keep it on the shelf for life.
All right. Well, for me, Res Arcana is gonna be my probably my shelf as well. You might be surprised because of the comic book hunters and Marvel theme and all that stuff, but Res Arcana is a top 10 game for me. It is really exciting engine building game. You get to make some really quick decisions on your turn. Everything you do feels like it's impactful to the whole game that you're playing in general. You draft some cards like you would in Challengers, and you get to then make a small little deck of 8, and you get to manipulate that deck of 8 cards. A lot of fun, a lot of good things in there.
Yeah, Res
Chris,
Arcana
how about you?
is. How about me?
No,
Res
we're
Arcana
going straight to Chris, because I'm running this program, baby. No, John, how about you?
Res Arcana, it's actually going to be my play. It's been so long since I played Res Arcana, and it's one of those games that I don't know that I've been that successful when I played it. I think I've only won once, and that was like barely. And it was like a 1-on-1 versus Daniel, and I thought I was out of it. And all of a sudden, I went for the gold, baby, and I got all this gold and ended up winning. But it's one of those games that's it's such a tight deal with that little deck that you're trying to manipulate. And like you say, you're hoping these cards come out. A lot like Challengers, like you're saying.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And so, but yes, definitely going to be my play. It's been way too long. Now we'll go to Chris. What do you think, Chris?
Wait, I'm hosting this. I'll throw it to him, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Andy. So this game's nothing like Challengers, which is why it's my play. I actually somehow I think I believe I've played Villagers before, but Res Arcana I've never got to the table, and I know Daniel, like at least 10 times. It's like, do you want to play Res Arcana? And then somehow we end up not. I don't know why, but it's eluded me. So much so that like I had to go online and, shout out to Rodney. I had to watch his Watch It Played, not a sponsor, but man, dude, come on the show. That'd be awesome. But anyways, though, so I watched it and I was like, oh, Tom Lemon. I know that guy because he makes this game. Which I actually was not a fan of the first time I bought it, but I got a super good deal with the little like wooden insert and expansion. So I had it for a long time. Finally got it out to the table recently. I liked it. So yes, Andy, yes, Roll for the Galaxy is my play. But also my play is this. Now there is no way Res Arcana will top this. So this will always be my highest layman game.
All right, we've jumped
Res Arcana may be number 2. It may be number 2. It looks very interesting to me. I like the idea of how you draft the cards and how they produce things. It has a very magic feel where you have to tap them. You can do certain things, at once, or you can also tap it and do another thing. So, like, everything about this game screams to me exciting. So, yes, I definitely want to play this, and I can't wait to finally get to the table. But I'm sorry, 1846 Wallaby's my favorite Lyman game.
Yeah, you just blew my mind. I had no idea Tom Liebman, whatever his name is, made 1846.
Me either.
Absolutely.
I'm so impressed. All right. Play shelf trade Tom Lehman games. Go.
1846. All of them. All right, Andy, what you got?
Well, thank you. Let's move on to our next game here, and that would be Comic Hunters, a game that was played recently. Actually, was it last night? Yeah. It was last night I played it for the first time. Yeah. And it's an illegal game. It's a contraband game, right? I mean, it's like sitting around smoking Cuban cigars. It's not allowed in our country, but somehow Daniel smuggled it in from Brazil, where they have the license to play it. And so, what was it? It was hot garbage, is what it was. It was terrible. There was no theme to it at all. Yet Daniel, I only think liked it because it had comic book covers and comic book art. But otherwise, it's a very forgettable set collection tile lane game that you could paste any theme on you want. It was very forgettable, very stupid, big waste of time. I did not like it at all. It is definitely my trade.
Wow, Andy, I am blown away right now. That is shocking. That is a hot take from you. Even our friend Danielle Marsh loved this game, so it has nothing to do with the theme that makes it great. This game is a pure draft game. It is the modern art equivalent of drafting. And modern art is an auction game where you're doing like 10 different auctions and throughout the game. This is a drafting game where you're doing 5 different drafts for. Okay, I exaggerate. Leave it alone. and it just highlights how each draft can be super exciting and important. And this is my this is going to be my play because I will play it anytime, anywhere. And not just because of the comic books, but that is a huge plus. Don't get me wrong. I adore the fact that they are the comic books I actually own here in this room. That is super amazing. But even if it wasn't that, I still think I would enjoy this game. The drafting of it is really fun. So Andy, you're just crazy. That's just, I knew you weren't enjoying it, but to say it was like heart garbage, a waste of time. Oh,
like heart to heart.
Sorry.
You heard me. I will not recant. Or recount.
He can't recant or recount. Anyway, Daniel, this was actually going to be my play, but we played it last night. And I'm kind of in between you two because to me, this game is all about the theme. It's the theme of the comic books and the real comic book art. And then, I had that comic or I had that comic and that's awesome. I always wanted to read that comic. To me, that is what makes this game. And the more I played it the other night or last night, whatever it was, the more I realized that a little bit of the shine came off. And it's still my shelf. I still would like to have it in my collection and play it once in a while. But yeah, if it had any other theme, I couldn't care less how creative the drafts are. I really couldn't. And I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. It's all about the comics. It's about looking at the comics, how cool the comics are. And there'll never be an expansion for it because it's made in Brazil and it's going to be illegal to own it. So, and you really need an expansion to keep it alive. You need more comics in there. You need more different ways to draft them or whatever. So, sorry, it's still good enough to be my shelf though. It is my shelf, but yeah, I've already played it. May not play it too many more times. We'll see. Chris, what you got?
All right, so I'm gonna pull a line here from Big Dan T, the Cyclops character from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, as he smashes their heads over with a big stick and steals their money. It's all about the money, boys. So I'm trading Comic Hunters because it is contraband and it goes for a lot of money. So that's why I'm trading it. It is actually a fantastic game. I really like it. You're right. It's themeless. I don't care. I never have. I've been playing since the 90s. Theme doesn't matter, people. If it's a good game, if it's got good mechanics, and this game's got it in spades. It's fantastic. Only selling high because it's worth so much, but it's a great game.
I'm offended that you would sell it, Chris, but I understand, and at least you're defending it. Dang it.
All right. Well, thank you, Chris. That was a unique take. We all had unique takes there. That was kind of interesting. Our last game on the list is Villagers, and this is a game I own. It is going to be my play, and the reason it's going to be my play is because it hasn't gotten played enough. And I haven't played it with the expansions yet, really. And I've got some of the expansions. I even backed the one of the expansions, and I've got it, and I've never opened it. So it really deserves a play. It's a fun little game. I have to say I'm not super blown away by it, but I haven't had a bad time playing it either. I feel like maybe the expansions would give it some more depth. It's a tableau building card game where you are putting down different workers and occupations, and they all kind of fall into different categories. So there's guys that work with stone, there's guys that work with hay, and there's guys that work in the vineyards. And anyway, the abilities stack on top of each other. It's a fun little game. I need to give it a play again. Sorry, I just realized I'm talking way too long. Daniel, what do you think about Villagers?
Well, you trashed my game. I'm going to trash your game. This one is a trade for me. We played it that one time many years ago, and I walked away from that game going, what was that? There were broken combos. Your whole play, you had like you would draft some cards and you're like, okay, well, if I get this second card, this is going to be amazing. And then the entire game goes and you never get that card. I'm sorry, I don't want to play any game where like an entire strategy hinges on like one card and it just never shows up for you, but it shows up for everybody else. And then, the person next to you gets that one broken combo and then there's nothing you can do about it to stop the combo. No, this game, no. And I don't think I'm the minority here. I think online they even acknowledged there was an issue. I could be wrong. I don't want to defame anything without knowing 100%, but I'm pretty sure that it's a universal take on this game that there are some things in there that just does not work. So I'm getting it out of here.
Well, part of your problem is you weren't using the special cards. There are special cards that alleviate the problems you specifically spoke of.
If you have to make something special to solve a problem, it's not special. It's the game that we should have been playing.
It's part of the balance of the game. It's a way around the issue we're talking about. You're talking about if you don't get that one card. Yes, those cards are rare, especially the ones that are super good. They may not show up, but there are special cards that help you achieve some of the same objectives.
So you get the special card and no one else does. You win. Good job. I'm glad you drew it.
It's all about probability, my friend. Probability.
But you have no control.
All right. So anyway, Villagers. So anyway, Villagers. This is a game that I have to say I'm going to trade because I have already traded it. I've owned it and traded it. I played it several times with Andy's copy, and I'll say this: if you play at maximum player count, that is the only way to play this game. Because I bought it and I tried playing it at less than maximum player count, and you have to take out these cards and these cards and these cards, and it seemed clunky and it seemed unintuitive, and it didn't really seem to flow like it should. And so I tried. It fell flat too. Nobody liked it. We only played about a half a game of it. They're like, let's play something else. I don't really understand what's going on. And then I played it solo by myself one time just to kind of relearn how to play it. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't know if I'm ever going to want to teach this game again. So it's going to go out of here. So Villagers, it can be fun, but especially in this group, it's the trade, especially since it's already traded in my group. So it's out of here.
Chris, what about you?
I was just waiting to get to me. So yeah, so by definition, because I'm selling high on Comic Hunters and I really want to get Res Arcana played because I haven't played it yet. Villagers is my shelf, and it's kind of by default. Like, I'm pretty sure I've played it before, but that kind of tells you, like, it wasn't very memorable, right? Like, kind of like Andy and Daniel talked about, it just wasn't very memorable. And like, I feel like, again, we all talk about how I'm not the arcade. By the way, first of all, I love art. I'm a big, very artsy person. In fact, I love music and all stuff. So art is my thing. Actually, I just don't care about it in my games. But I will say the art in this game is like, it's really perplexing. It's like, it's a very kind of different, minimalistic kind of style, but it's like done in such a way that it's also very forgettable. Like, it's just kind of like, it's hard to explain. Like, you actually have to see the art to really understand, but it just kind of, It's just kind of there. Is the only way to describe it. So.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because this is not the first time we've done Play Shelf Trade where Chris has described the thing he puts on his shelf as not memorable and barely acceptable. And I'm like, the shelf is the equivalent of Mary in the other game we mimic. So
again, that's not exactly. It's whatever you kind of make it, right? Like I chose to sell Comic Hunters because it's worth a lot, right? It's all.
I understand. It's just funny to me. It's not very memorable, but I'll put it on the shelf.
I'll put it on the shelf because I can't. I got to put it somewhere. So
Chris is.
If I could trade two, I would trade two.
No drum beat.
Well, thank you guys. That's interesting. Those of you that are watching and listening out there, please tell us what you would do. Would you play shelf and trade these games? Would you just maybe you don't want to put them in any of the categories like Chris didn't want to. So tell us in the comments. We'd love to know all about it, and we'd love to interact with you. Let's finish up the show.
Round 4, fight!
Board game, believe it or not.
All right. Round 4 comes to me for the old Believe It or Not segment, the award-winning Believe It or Not segment. And so what we do in this segment is I'm going to come up with, I've got a whole bunch of them here. You're going to have to pick a number between 1 and 12. Ooh. I've got real games. I've got games that I've made up. And I'm going to go ahead and say a game title, a year that it came out, and a brief description. We're going to send it around the board. Everybody's going to say whether they believe that game is real or whether they don't believe it at all. And if they are correct, they get a point. If I fool 2 of these jokers, I get a point. Usually I don't get very many good points, but it makes for some fun conversation. So we're going to start it with, as we usually do, the man in the orange corner, comprised entirely of Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal. We're going to Chris. Pick a number between 1 and 12 there, Chris.
All right, I'm gonna go with what I am, number 1.
Number 1, all the way back to number 1. All right. How many of you have heard of the game Millie Born? Everybody heard of it?
No.
I always call it Miles Born, but sure.
Miles Born? Well, I think in French it's actually Millie Bien. Well, Millie Born came out in 1954. A sequel to it came out in 1977 called Millie Bien Again, which is kind of funny because we say Millie Born. So Millie Born Again. Again means encore again? Or again. Yes. So it's Millie Born Again. There you go.
It's a Christian game. He's born again.
But it's a
Millie's been born again.
That's right. In 1977, a sequel to the classic game Millie Born. This iteration features updated vehicles and road artwork and can now facilitate up to 8 players. I think the first one only went to 5 or 6.
So a party game.
Millie Born Again. It's a party game by definition to some of you. Millie Born Again, 1977. Chris, what do you think?
Okay, so is this like a French thing that like a Formula Day where it means something? Because like I hear a person's name and like the way you said it was as if it was some sort of IP I should heard of before. And like I think you're just saying gobbledygoo.
Have you never heard of the game Millie Born?
No.
Oh, are you serious?
No.
It's like a classic old card game where you're.
The only thing I've ever heard of is Milli Vanilli.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's Millie Born, which in French it's Millie Bien.
Yes,
and then in French it's Millie Bien Again, but in English it's Millie Born Again. So.
Okay, so I assume it's the second one that we're doing since you've said the first one actually does exist.
Everybody knows Millie Born is a game.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta believe in people being born again. So I'm gonna say it is. It's
a believe it. He's a believer.
I'm a believer.
He's a believer. Andy, what say you, buddy?
Well, so again, is it really pronounced Millie? I thought it was Miles Born. Isn't it a racing game?
Yes, it's Millie Bien.
Miles, like you go miles.
No, that's not how it's pronounced. That's probably what it means in French. But no, that's not how it's.
And second of all, your French accent is cultural appropriation, and I don't approve.
I'm French. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
And German.
German.
Taisman.
Right.
That's right.
1/4 French. Thank you very much.
I don't believe it's a game. I do not. So, but I do think that Millie Born Again should be the next parody that we do about a big tent revival.
Well, maybe it'll be possible. Maybe not. We'll find out.
Racing
Daniel,
to the altar.
What do you say, buddy?
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to go with true.
To the altar.
I'm gonna go with true, because if you made something that up from something so obscure and then you thought we would actually know what that was, it just seems even more ridiculous. So no, this is totally real.
It's
Totally
not that
real.
obscure of a game. It was a card game that was around as kids.
So who here has heard of Millie Born?
You've
I just
asked
don't
us
call
that
it.
already.
So you really haven't heard of it? Wow.
No,
Our
I'm
producer
really not. Like,
Andy,
I was
that's it.
confused.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I made this up because I thought Millie Born Again sounded funny. So yes, this is
Thank you.
this is
Oh
a fake
gosh,
Dang it.
Suckers.
that was ridiculous, John.
That's hilarious. I can't believe you guys call yourself gaming enthusiasts and never heard of Millie Born. Okay. Andy, when you pick a number between 1 and 12, please, sir.
Race to the altar and avoid
Or I
the
guess
pits.
1 and 11 now.
The pit stops of hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go with number 2. Who does number 2 work for?
Oh, number 2. So that'll be easy to find.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Here it is. Duran Duran Into the Arena from 1985. Who's heard of Duran Duran? Let's start from there. Okay,
yes,
thank
obviously.
you. My gosh, I don't know who I'm dealing with here today.
I
All
heard
right.
of Milli Vanilli, so
Yeah.
Players move around the board trying to collect all 5 matching matching pair of disc tiles featuring Duran Duran single titles. So basically it looks like a little record. They then try to collect a band member tile for each of the 5 band members. Sounds exciting. It's like there's like an inner circle and an outer circle. You go around the outer circle to collect the singles, then you go in the inner circle to collect the band members. First one to do so wins. Duran Duran Into the Arena really makes you feel like you're at a Duran Duran concert, doesn't it? Andy, what do you think, buddy? Did this really come out in 1985?
Well,
Believe it or not?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, and I guess I'm not a real Duran Duran fan, which was a nice alliteration, by the way.
Not bad.
Did they have enough singles to have this game exist?
I am a Duran Duran fan. Are you kidding me? Yes, they had huge amounts of singles.
I think
Wild Boys.
I think this game would never have been made because it's too niche and it's too complex for the time period. So I'm going to say that is a falsity.
That is a not believe from Andy. Daniel, what say you to Duran Duran? Do you want to go into the arena?
Yeah. So you said, well, one, the pun is really fun. Duran into the arena. I Duran into the arena. I hope everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's what they were going for.
No,
Also, this was on the
not at all.
cusp of the Pog Wait, you didn't pick up on that pun? Who knows a
It's
pun?
not a pun.
Who knows what puns are? Okay.
Who's
sorry.
Duran? Who's duh?
Arena is the name of a Duran Duran live album. So Duran Duran Into the Arena is
It's a pun.
It is not.
But
Anyway.
it would be if it was I ran
Yes.
into the arena.
No. Well, regardless,
Live show in Iran.
Of Pogs, you're collecting Pogs, so it seems about the right time that this would have came out. So yeah, you said discs. They're Pogs, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Pogs. They're Pogs. I saw the game.
Okay.
Since when do discs
Oh,
equal
he
Pogs?
thinks he knows the game.
No,
So what are you saying? You're saying believe it or not believe it?
I believe it.
Oh, okay, so you believe it. So we got a
Yeah.
believe and a not believe. Chris, am I going to get a point here or not? What do you got?
I'm going to. I think you have to by default, right? Because they both.
No, I have to
opposed.
fool two of you. They
Oh,
both
I guess
disagree.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna say it's real because it sounds like a game from the '80s, which were all parties and stupid. So they were just robbing the IP, trying to move some units to make a couple of bucks. So yeah,
So that's a party game to you.
if it doesn't
Is that what you
take
just
any
said?
thought and it's stupid
Wow.
and just a money grab like Challengers, correct?
That game is real. I saw it online one time and I was like, no way. They made a
Hey.
game about Duran Duran. I got to look at this. And I'm like, I'm never getting that hot garbage. That sounds boy. What's this now? Now I'm losing points. That's ridiculous. All right.
Our
It's 'cause
judge
you didn't
behind the
understand
scenes
the
told us
Duran.
that our judge behind the scenes told us that he accidentally awarded you 2 points, so he's taking.
Yes. I know that. But I just wanted to-
the listening audience does not know, so
They don't need to know.
Wow.
They just need to know I'm getting ripped
Sure,
off.
the listening
All
audience
right.
doesn't see the numbers at all. So
Daniel, what say you, buddy? Between 1 and 10.
Let's go with 5.
5. All righty then. Here, 5 is Renegade Rainbow. Came out in 2007. 2007. Players take on the roles of generic girls' toys like Flower Patch Kids, Colorful Pony, Strawberry Streusel. However, while most players are concentrated on accomplishing fun tasks like saving a cat stuck in a tree or finding a lost bicycle, the Renegade is trying to upset the plans Identify the renegade before they ruin Crystal City forever.
Wow.
What do you
I'm
think, Daniel?
torn on this because that's such a guy premise, where you have this traitor and gonna bust stuff up, but it's all like rainbows and flowers and crystal land. And also there's enough innuendos in there that also concern me that if you didn't make this up, I don't even know what to think of this, John. You've rocked my world.
That's what I try to do.
I know. I'm gonna
Like
go
a
with
hurricane.
I'm gonna go with real. I'm gonna go with real because I don't think you
Daniel
could have made
is
that
a
up.
believer.
Believer.
Chris, what say you, buddy?
I'm not going to believe it because this sounds like a game that's worthy of an IP cash grab because it just sounds really bad. So since there is no IP, I'm going to say it's not real.
Chris says no IP, no believe.
That's right.
Andy, what about you, buddy?
I'm not gonna say it's real either because I don't like girly stuff, which means I must be a supporter of the patriarch.
So what are you saying? You're saying a not believe?
Not believe.
Not believe. Renegade Rainbow was the name of a game that my son came up with, but the game description he came up with was not something we should do on the show. I'll have to tell you guys that. That'll be for the Patreon subscribers only.
Oh my gosh.
Boy.
But it was not real.
Woo!
So, yeah, I had to think to come up with that one, but I love the title. I'm like, I got to use that title. That title's great. So
nice.
All right, we're gonna do one more, maybe. One more.
Right.
Chris, what do you say, buddy? 1 through 9.
I'll go with 3.
3. Wow, we're getting all these early ones out. All right, so right here before Renegade Rainbow, we've got Envelopes of Cash from 2022. Where players square off as rival college football programs trying to attract the most coveted high schoolers to join their teams. Gameplay is driven by a card draft whereby players can acquire new personnel, build new facilities, strengthen their culture, among other things. But the most valuable asset in the game are envelopes of cash, whose value is determined by a dice roll at the start of the round. Chris, what do you think? Envelopes of cash, is that a believe or not believe?
I'm going to say I don't believe because it sounds too much like a satirical joke about the NCAA and playing their players. But if it is real, I want to play this.
Okay.
This sounds fun and exciting if it is real.
So Chris does not believe. Andy, do you believe it or not?
What year did this allegedly come out?
2022, last year.
And the name again?
Are you going to look it up?
No, I'm not. I just want to remember.
Envelopes of cash.
It was that unmemorable that I couldn't even remember what you just said. It was that bland. And you know what? Because of that, I'm going to say it actually is a game because there's a lot of dumb games that come out that are bland. Sorry to the creators and designers of that game. Maybe it's amazing, but I'm going to say it's true.
If it is real, like you got the worst name ever. Like it doesn't tell you anything about the game. Like it's not like
right.
Yeah. So
we got to believe and a no believe. It's all up to Daniel whether I get a point or not.
No, this is fabricated. I think it is clever, but with it being the year 22, this game would have been all over the place. People would have been laughing about it, joking about it. It would have been everywhere because it's funny. Good job, John. You made a funny game.
Well, this game would have been all over and everywhere if it didn't look like absolute trash, because this is a real game that came out in 2022.
Wow.
It really is. It looks like hot garbage. When I looked at it, I was just kind of looking at low-rated games, and this one popped up, and I was like, Envelopes of Cash? That sounds cool. I thought maybe a gangster theme or something, and I'm reading it. I'm like, with the nil money thing, this kind of out of date now, but I thought it was a pretty interesting thing. But
wow.
So. All right.
I love how the name apparently excited you. Like I'm the old man. I'm the one that plays games that are named after cities and stuff like that. Envelopes of Cash is the least exciting name I have ever heard.
I was so disappointed when I actually looked into the Duran Duran game and the Envelopes of Cash game because I had such high hopes for both, but they both.
And it's still ranked almost over 10,000 better than what effectively challenges of War because this ranked 14,478.
There you go.
Better than War.
Maybe we'll get it. All right.
See if I can find it.
Well, that wraps up our latest edition of Believe It or Not. Did any of you believe those? Let us know what you thought of those games in the comments. And if you would play any of those fake games, what do you think about that? Millie Born Again and what was that? Renegade Rainbow. Let's get that one made. Or we'll get the one that my son came up with made.
Millie Born Again is going to be the parody on the next show.
All right.
Yes.
I like it.
All right. Well, that takes us to the end. So let's take a look at these points. We've got let me see. Andy at 12, Daniel at 10. I think I should still have more points from last episode because
That was
just
a good
making
one.
this. Okay, I'll get rid of that for now. Okay, but the winner is Chris. Old man Chris. There you go, buddy. Take it away.
All right. Well, see, I saw this coming. I knew I was going to win because here's going to be the big reveal. This is where they're going to like come out because this was pre-recorders. They did some sort of shenanigans because all of this has been pre-planned. A giant punk of me about challengers because it's absolutely impossible that anyone not lying to you that has over a third grade education would say that this game is fun. Or moreover, that it's a game. That's even a game. Now, BGG, I appreciate you. I love you. You've been great for our community and stuff like that, but you have failed us. You actually, in fact, consider war a game, and it's not. So, by definition, Challengers is a game. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just waiting. They're going to pop up. I'm just looking over there. They're going to pop up because there's no way this is real. I know I'm taking up so much of the show talking about this game, but I can't tell you how just insane it is. Oh, no, there you go, John. Andy got his copy of the Night Shift. There you go.
He's been Googling.
I just stole your thunder. Sorry, Chris.
That's fine. Because I don't know what else to say other than the game is just it's real bad. I don't know what to. I don't get it. Like, and again, like I said, again, depending on how many of different sections that we've cut in and put in here, like if you would just draw 5 cards and play one and draw one, I would be excited about this game. It would be that draft in a box and Magic in a box and all the different stuff. Sounds fantastic. That's kind of what Cube is in Magic. I'm all for that, but just get them together and shuffle them up and flip it over. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. And yes, it does. Like it's funny. Like it wasn't until this game that I fully understood exactly what Kitterspiel was because. German and English, they kind of have some cross-pollination and stuff like that. So some things you can be like, oh, that's probably what it means in English. And I thought Kitterspiel meant kindergarten or kinder or something. This game is specifically for children. No, I found out that it's the strategy, the one that's supposed to even be more than I can't even imagine what the Spiel des Jahres was, since it was even less than Challengers.
I believe it was Old Maid.
Maybe it's one of the 4 games less than War. Which, by the way, okay, I got a spiel. Here we go. Here's the talk.
Your time's over.
BGG. I have a problem that Tic-Tac-Toe is the lowest ranked game on BGG. It is better than Candyland. It is better than War.
At least somebody wins Candyland.
You have choice with Tic-Tac-Toe. You choose where you want to put it. You have the same problem with Candyland as you do with War and Challenge. You just flip the card over. That's what you get.
At least in Tic-Tac-Toe, you have 2 choices. Do I want to win or do I want to lose? That's your 2 choices.
Hey, but I have a choice. I don't have that choice in Challengers.
No, it's not win or lose. It's tie or lose. Because it's like tic-tac-toe, you just tie.
That's true. It's tie or lose. Well, the other person will choose to lose.
Guys, let's save this tic-tac-toe discussion for our next hot or not.
That's good. Let's do that.
Okay.
And instead, let's wrap this show up by getting to the birthdays. Andy, let's take it away.
Yeah, birthday time, and one of my favorite games that I didn't play actually until recently, believe it or not, and that would be Clans of Caledonia. It is 6 years old. Came out in 2017. It is definitely a fantastic heavier Euro game that everyone should play. If you haven't played it, shame on you.
And the game I'm wishing happy birthday to is Battlestar Galactica. Came out in 2008. This was the game that introduced me to this hobby in a fantastic way. We'd stay up literally till 5 o'clock in the morning playing this game 2-3 times in a row. Great game. Love it. Doesn't age well, but it was great for its time. 15-year-olds today, Battlestar Galactica.
Cool. I've got Between Two Cities, which we gave away a copy of Between Two Cities Essential Edition or whatever it might have been. It's 8 years old today, 2015, and I've got to get that one played again. I played it like 3 or 4 times since I've gotten it. It's awesome because it plays up to like 7-8 players or whatever, and so I got to get it to the table again. Between Two Cities, really good game. Chris, what you got?
All right, and then the last game we got from 2012, who is 11 years old, is Zulkin. This game, it like restored my faith in gimmicks and board games, because the first time I saw it, I was just like, okay, someone made a mass market game and put it on this shelf here for board games, but the gimmick, the gears, it makes the game run. You just couldn't play it without it. It makes the thing sing. I love that game. It is a classic. I had to evangelize it to our play group, and even then it took a while for them to listen to me. It took COVID for people to actually like it.
I admit you are absolutely correct in that aspect, Chris. I was unsure of it when you first pulled it out because of the massive wheels and whatnot, but it is a fantastic game, and I call it the Street Fighter 2 game.
Why is that?
Because
why is that, Andy?
Tzolk'in!
Oh, I gotcha.
Anyway, well, thank you guys for being a part of this wonderful show. All of you viewers out there and listeners, remember to tap those like and subscribe buttons if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on your favorite podcast app. We would sure like it if you'd subscribe there as well. You can join us at various social media groups. The one we're most active on is our Facebook group, Around the Board. And you can also email us at mail@aroundtheboard.net. We love you guys. We love doing this show, even if we all hate each other. It's a lot of fun here. We'll see you next time Around the Board.
All right, so I'm shuffling up here. Last time, I got one of these wrong. Let's see if I can get them all right this time.
That was
the extent of planning I did this episode.
So it was a real game, see?
And I got stuff.
Ooh, I got one right.
It is a real game. Look.
We're looking.
2 of hearts.
A board game like no other. Can you hustle?
2 of diamonds. Yeah. Hey, 3 for 3.